The global cost of a data breach this year has been $404.45 million, which is an increase of 15% over the last 3 years. As we step into 2024, it's crucial that we are aware of emerging technology threats, ones that could potentially disrupt and harm your business. Technology is evolving at a rapid pace, and it's bringing both new opportunities and new challenges for businesses and individuals alike. Not all technology is benign. Some innovations can pose serious threats to our digital security, privacy, and safety. And today I'm going to be highlighting some of those emerging technology threats that you should be aware of in 2024 and beyond. Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. I'm Michael Kinnett. I'm the CEO and founder of Eternal Networks. And every Friday, I go live at 1 p.m. Pacific time on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn pages to discuss the latest tech and cybersecurity news that might affect you and your business and to share some information. At the end of today's live session, I'll also be answering questions from the audience. So if you've got any cybersecurity tech questions, whatever questions you've got, just save them, post them in the comments, and I'll have some time to cover those at the end. First up for the news, there's a few items I want to point out from the news. Several months ago, back in August, I talked about a multinational law enforcement operation that was called Operation Duck Hunt, where the FBI and its international partners took down a massive global malware botnet network called Crackbot or Qbot. The FBI essentially took over the admin servers, hijacked the botnet, and then pushed out a small tool that terminated the extensive network of Crackbot botnets around the globe. Since then, there's been no activity from Crackbot until recently. This month, December 11th, Crackbot has begun to be distributed once again via new phishing campaigns. And the campaigns that we're seeing are specifically targeting the hospitality industry, and they're impersonating the IRS. So, hopefully it doesn't become as extensive as it used to be, but the success of the FBI was definitely short-lived for a few months. It's now being distributed again. So something that we'll keep our eyes on for sure. Also, the FBI just recently released a tool to disrupt the alpha, and it's not spelled alpha, it's ALPHV. It's a strain of ransomware that was used in the MGM breach and compromise this past September. Alpha and the related ransomware strain called Black Cat has been very active since late 2021, and so far has collected more than $200 million in ransom payments. That's just the ones that we know of. The tool that the FBI released will decrypt computers and files that have been encrypted with the alpha strain of ransomware. So good news, good win for the good guys. Once again, that's another, I've talked about this before, but if your organization is involved in a breach, it's essential that you get the FBI involved as soon as possible, because they do have tools such as this that can help you to recover and get back up operational. Also in the news, First American Financial Corporation, they're the second largest title insurance company in the United States. They were forced to take some of their systems offline to contain a cyber attack. It's still unknown the full extent of the compromise, but the company did reveal that attackers, after gaining access to some of their systems, were able to steal some additional credentials. So they're working on cleaning up and getting things fully back online. It's still, like I said, it's still a little bit unknown the extent of it, but Alpha/Black Cat, that organization behind those strains of ransomware, have claimed the breach. So hopefully the tool that was just released by the FBI that I mentioned can assist First American in their recovery efforts. Now, there's other news topics, but I don't want to bore you. Those were the three that kind of jumped out as the ones that might be of most interest to people. And now onto our main discussion today. I'm going to be talking about tech threats that you should be aware of and looking out for in the coming year. As technology expands and evolves to help our businesses, it's also essential to note that it comes with new threats. And here's some that we think within internal networks and within the industry are going to need some special considerations and potentially new safeguards in 2024. First is data poisoning. Data poisoning involves corrupting data sets used to train AI models. By injecting malicious data, attackers can skew the algorithm's outcomes, which could lead to incorrect decisions in critical sectors like healthcare or finance. Some actions are vital in countering this threat, which include protecting training, data integrity, and implementing robust validation mechanisms. So businesses that are using AI-generated data should be cautious about this. It should be heavily augmented by human intelligence, as well as data from other sources. AI is still very much an up-and-coming tool, resource. There are many benefits. I've talked about those previously on live streams. We'll probably be talking about them more next year. You just have to take these considerations as you're evaluating how you're going to use AI within your organization. Next one is 5G network vulnerabilities. So the widespread adoption of 5G technology has introduced some new attack surfaces. With an increased number of connected devices, the attack vector broadens. IoT or Internet of Things devices that rely on 5G networks might become targets for cyber attacks. Securing these devices and implementing strong network protocols is imperative, especially to prevent large-scale attacks. So make sure that your business has a robust mobile device management strategy. Mobile really is taking over much of the workload, and organizations need to properly track and manage how these devices are accessing their business data and make sure that that data and those devices are secure. Number 3, this is a fun one for me. Quantum computing vulnerability. So quantum computing is really kind of a big up and coming thing. They've been talking about it for years. It's unprecedented computational power is available with quantum computing. We're talking like, skyrocketing the amount of computational power that these quantum computers are going to have compared to what we have today. That's going to come with threats as well. The immense processing capabilities of quantum computing could crack currently secure encryption methods. So as the amount of computational power increase, so does the ability to rapidly guess passwords, hack encryption methods, decrypt things. All of these things become easier to do with more processing power. Hackers might be able to exploit this power to really to get through security measures and access sensitive data, which emphasizes the need for quantum-resistant encryption techniques to safeguard digital information. So once again, that's probably something we're going to be talking about more as quantum computing breakthroughs continue to happen and it starts being able to reach the mainstream. Number 4, artificial intelligence. So another AI thing here, right? Manipulation. So AI, while transformative, can be manipulated. We talked about data poisoning. So here's another method that cyber criminals might be able to exploit AI algorithms to spread misinformation. So not necessarily the same as data poisoning, because data poisoning is poisoning data for your organization. We're talking about spreading misinformation. So they're already creating through AI algorithms deep fakes. They're already automating phishing attacks, and these are going to continue to increase. So vigilance is essential as these AI-driven threats become more sophisticated. Demands robust detection mechanisms to discern genuine from malicious AI-generated content. Number 5, this one is augmented reality and virtual reality. So potential exploits that could come in AR and VR. These are technologies that offer very immersive experiences, but they also prevent some new vulnerabilities. Cyber criminals might be able to exploit these platforms to deceive users, leading to real-world consequences. Ensuring the security of AR and VR applications is crucial, especially to prevent user manipulation and privacy breaches. This is very true in sectors like gaming, education, and healthcare. So if you're planning on implementing and utilizing AR and VR in the coming year, you're going to have to consider okay, how do we make sure that we're protecting data, privacy, etc., with these new media methods. Number 6, no surprise here, Ransomware, right? That's been on the list for years. It's going to continue to be on the list. Ransomware attacks have evolved beyond simple data encryption, though. Threat actors now use double extortion tactics. They steal sensitive data and then they encrypt the files. So if victims refuse to pay to unencrypt the files, guess what? The hackers then say, well, you know what? We don't care about that anymore. Now we're going to leak your data or sell the data, post it online, whatever. That's going to cause reputational damage. I talked about in the news last month or the month before about the plastic surgery center in Las Vegas that was hit by one of these, where they didn't pay the ransom, so they posted the photos of the plastic surgery patients online, leading to reputational damage and other issues to try to pressure that surgery center into paying the ransom. So some defenses against this evolved ransomware threat include robust backup solutions, regular cybersecurity training, and proactive threat hunting. Next on our list of potential 2024 threats is supply chain attacks. This is another one that has been around for a while. If you don't believe me, go ask anybody at Target who was involved in the breach from several years ago. Supply chain attacks remain a persistent threat. Cyber criminals infiltrate third-party vendors or software providers to compromise larger targets. Strengthening supply chain cybersecurity is critical in preventing cascading cyber incidents. Businesses can do this through rigorous vendor assessments, multi-factor authentication, as well as continuous monitoring of those connections and any integrations with those third-party systems. Next, biometric data vulnerability. Biometric authentication methods such as fingerprints or facial recognition are becoming commonplace. They're in almost every mobile device and are used daily by millions of people around the United States. But users can't change their biometric data once it's compromised. You can change your password, you can change a PIN, you cannot change your fingerprint or your face, at least not very easily. Protecting biometric data through secure encryption is important. We need to ensure that service providers follow strict privacy regulations. These are paramount to preventing identity theft and fraud. Next on the list, this is number 9 if you're keeping track, is advanced phishing attacks. Once again, phishing is still here. It's not going anywhere. It's increasing. Tactics are changing. Phishing attacks are one of the oldest and most common forms of cyber attacks. And these attacks are becoming much more sophisticated and more targeted, in large part thanks to AI. For example, hackers can customize spear phishing attacks to a specific individual or organization, and they do this based on online personal or professional information. Another example is phishing attacks. These use voice calls or voice assistants to impersonate legitimate entities. They convincingly persuade victims to take certain actions. Ongoing phishing training is vital, as well as automated solutions to detect and defend against phishing threats. One of the other methods that they're using AI for phishing is to craft much more convincing content. So 2 or 3 years ago, we could say, hey, is this a phishing email or not? And if you read it and it had grammar mistakes, if it was just worded funny, it was a lot more easier to identify as a phishing attempt. Now you can't. Most of the phishing attacks that we see, the grammar is great, the English is good, right? There's no indications by the content. Yeah, there might be a word that we're like, well, that's not a word that's commonly used. But for the most part, a lot of those indicators are gone. It makes it harder for the general user to identify those phishing attacks because of these advanced tactics using AI. So it's critical to continue to train your employees on identifying those potential risks and threats. If you need some other tips to help defend your business from these threats, let me know. Last year's solutions might not be enough to protect against the year's threats and what's coming. So don't leave your security at risk. Our team can help with a thorough cybersecurity assessment. We've talked about these before. I talk about them frequently. It's really hard to know where you should go if you don't know where you're starting from. And the first step I recommend to everybody that I talk to is you really need a security assessment. You need to evaluate where your risks are so that you know what you need to protect against. Whenever somebody contacts and says, oh, well, we want this tool or that tool or this tool, it's like, why? Why do you want to spend money on that tool to protect yourself? And some organizations can very clearly answer that. And hey, we've done analysis and this is why. Perfect. Here's the tool. Oftentimes they're like, well, that's what our insurance told us, or that's what so-and-so recommended, or that's what we saw in the news. You know, it doesn't do any good to provide all these advanced, expensive tools if you're not securing your data in some of the most basic ways and methods. So starting out with knowing where you're from, where your data is, all that stuff. We talked about it before. I'm going to talk about it more. Do a cybersecurity assessment. Determine where you're starting from. We can definitely help. We'd love to help. We can chat about that more in chat and comments and one-on-ones, whatever. Also, on that note, we're going to be having an upcoming webinar talking a little bit more about cybersecurity risk assessments. You can join us January 18th, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be talking about the cyber threats we discussed today, kind of the history, the current state of cybersecurity, and some actionable steps that you can take to mitigate risks immediately and evaluate where you're at. We're going to discuss the role of a data plan, potential impact on your business if you don't have a data plan. So register now. Seats are limited. We'll post a link in the chat. Emily's assisting on the back end, so she'll be posting that up there. Hopefully you will join us for that webinar January 18th. Let's see, are there any comments from our live audience? I don't see any comments coming through in the chat or the thread. If you do have any comments, questions, you can always contact me via direct message. You can schedule through the link that's on the screen right now. You can reach out to us, go to our website, itnet.works. There's phone numbers, there's email addresses, there's forms to fill out. There's multiple ways of contacting us. If you're watching this, first, thanks for watching. And also, you know where we're at. Click the links to our social media posts, comment, reach out to us through those methods. We feel like we're pretty easy to get in touch with, and we'd love to answer any of your questions. We'd love to hear back from you, right? If you've got a question or concern about cybersecurity or technology in general, let us know. We'll throw it in, and I'll cover that on one of our upcoming live streams. I do also want to say, with Christmas coming on Monday, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time off of work, preparing for the new year, all the fun that comes with the end of the year and the beginning of the year. Hopefully everything's wonderful with you and your families, and we'll see you next week on our next live stream. Have a good one.